Hello and welcome back. In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to make a different extrude brush that paints texture like rivets and fasteners on your mesh like the example here. We will clone the layer brush this time, and I'm going to show you two different ways how to make rivets with this brush. One using the Brush Falloff for quick changes on the fly, and the other with different alphas while digging a little more into how the brush settings will interact with each other. I also show you how to paint the rivets separately from the other mesh so they stand out a little more. At the end of the video, I have a real quick sneak peek into the next couple of videos I have in store for you. Since this was running a little longer than I intended, please don't hesitate to skip around as needed to see the tips and techniques in any order you like. As always, please like and subscribe for more content like this, and a huge thank you to everyone who has already subscribed to my channel. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much. Okay, let's grab our iPad and let's get sculpting. Okay, normally you know that I would come in here and get rid of this sphere, but in this case, this one's going to be fine. All we're going to do is go in and box, or no, you know what, we'll just do multi-resolution. And I'm just going to bump this all the way up. So with any of the extrude brushes that I've shown you, you need pretty high detail. If you're just doing small things, that's fine to bump the detail up to put your details on, and then you can reduce the resolution from there. If you're using the regular extrude brush and doing a stamp and doing a big one, then you really want to do it at the very end so it doesn't overload your sculpt. You always want to start from a small resolution and go up to bigger resolution. Okay. Now that that's out of the way, and you can see here, we've got some really good resolution on this thing. Let's go up here and clone. So my rivet brush is the same thing as the extrude line, and all that is the layer brush cloned. So let's clone it. Double tap on it. And we'll just name this Rivets 2. Now I'm going to show you two different ways to use this type of brush for rivets. First is just using your fall off, so we'll go up to the brush menu now. Now the first thing you need to do to turn this into a brush that will, well, let's save this. So the first thing you want to do to change this is the stroke spacing. That's the main difference between a brush that's going to do this. Let's pin that open. And a brush that's going to do a stamp. So you can see there we have a stamp, some semblance of a stamp going, so we're going to change that. So in here in the alphas menu, you have your 3 standard alphas right here, and then you can see I have a lot of other alphas in here that I've trashed and put in whatever. What we're going to do is change your preset. So we'll go into this one and we'll drop this down. So this is the first way you can make rivets. It's just this, and this works well for something really quick, but it's a little limited because it's harder to control your scaling and everything, and you can only do so much because depending on what size this is, your stroke spacing is going to make a difference. So here you can see that's already pretty cool. We've already got some pretty cool rivets going there. And you can always change, though one thing that is cool about these is you can always change these up a little bit. So you want a rivet head with a little bit of a bump on the outside of it, like here. Now you have this cool rivet head like that with a depression with it if you wanted. You make that a little bit mellower, go like that. You can see there. So that's one way to do these type of brushes, but with not using an alpha, you can't really do much with this because you can't change things. So let me show you what I mean. So if we grab a dot, back these off. So now you can change the scaling. You can see this one's not centered, but that doesn't really matter too much. The scaling, rotation is not going to make much difference. You can see there, it'll just kind of move around. But the tiling is a pretty robust feature here. So let's fix this to a preset. Actually, let's just change this back down. Get rid of all these. here. Turn off symmetry. Now, when you're using an alpha, you have a lot more control. So now you can change things like this. Different sizes is much easier, and you can use the tiling feature. You can't use the tiling feature if you're just using the fall off to make rivets. So if we drop this down a little bit, you'll see that we can get these a lot closer. See how they're tightening up now. Now it depends on how, you can't decrease this spacing in between them much, but you can change it a little bit. So if we increase that scale all the way up, you'll see that it tightens them up just a little bit. So let's go into Procreate real quick, and I'll show you how to make 3 really fast alphas and show you even more things you can do with them real quick. So let's go in there. Now, if you need to know how to get into this and make this canvas is 500 pixels by 500 pixels. It's always black, and I have it set to where if I come in here, I can just hit on that and it gives me this canvas every time. I'll put a link in the video explaining how to get here and do this. Right now we're going to grab the white brush, so we're going to go on and grab the monoline, which is in calligraphy monoline right here, and we're going to use white. So if you double tap, you'll get true white. Pull around a circle and you'll see the edit shape come up there. Tap on circle, I'm going to click and drag, whoops, click and drag, drop it in there. What is going on there? I don't know why that's a weird color. Let's try that again. Something's going on. You don't want any color difference in this too much. There we go, that's better. That was just a little off on the white. Now you can see that's off center. We'll go in here, and if you have snapping off, which most of the time you'll have it off when you're in here to begin with, we'll turn on snapping, magnetics, and snapping. Now when you, on the outside of the canvas here, you'll see these lines pop up. Orange is center line that way. And what I'll usually do is let off on the pencil and grab it again, and it makes it a lot easier to find the other center line. It's a little harder to do if you're trying to do both at the same time. Now let's talk about scale just for a second. If you have this really big like this, your alpha, and you go in, you're not going to be able to get your stroke spacing where you space your rivets out further apart, or any other texture for that matter. So the smaller you make this, you can play with your side menus, and I'll show you that, how you can adjust this. So this would be like, this size would be like what we had. So you saw that we were kind of limited. You can only do so much with it. You're always better off going with a fairly small alpha. So we'll go down in this range right here. Let's find center again. There we go. All right, that's center. Now what you want to do is come into the adjustments menu, the magic wand, Gaussian blur, and give it about 2%. 1 to 2%, somewhere in there. You don't want a real hard edge. It just doesn't work as well. So this is one alpha, so we're going to save this real quick. If you want to go in here, we'll name it real quick. Just name it soft dot. Okay. And then we'll share it as a JPEG. Save to files. Save. Okay, now we've done that. Now we can change this. Now we can duplicate this layer if we want. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. Let's try that again. Duplicate. We can pull one over here. Grab this layer, pull it over here. Now if you don't know if that's perfectly centered, you can do this a couple different ways. We're going to go in here to the canvas menu, drawing guide, edit drawing guide, and we're going to do the grid size pretty big. You need to come up here and tap on here so you can see it. Now we can just adjust the grid and get it roughly centered. So we'll center on one of them. That's pretty good. Right there. Done. Now if we grab snapping and magnetics, it'll help you get us a little bit closer. That'll be close enough for what we're doing. Okay, so we'll save that as one, so you can turn the drawing guide off. You don't have to do that, but I do just normally. So we'll do this one. Okay, we'll name this soft dot 2. Okay, and we're going to share that again. Same thing. Okay. Now we're going to do one more, and this one's going to open up something that it's really cool when we go in and mirror this. So we'll go into your menus, layer. It doesn't matter which one we grab. We're just going to take one up. Actually, you know what? We'll do it. We'll move them both. Grab this one, pull this one down, and then let's turn on the drawing guide again. Okay, so we do need to move that one just a little bit. We'll move them both just a little. And these don't have to be exact. I mean, you can make these perfect if you want, but the alphas, they're so small, it doesn't make a huge difference anyway. Okay, so we're done with that. So we're gonna send this one out real quick. Okay, so we'll go on to name this one again. Canvas. Oops, there we go, offset. Good enough. Oh, and we'll share that one. One last one. We'll keep that. Okay, so you'll see that these, these go really quickly. And even if we have this on, you'll see that that JPEG's not going to have this grid on there. I don't think anyway. Maybe it will. Maybe we'll save that one more. Oops. Let's not do that. Let's turn that off real quick. There. Because actually I think it will save it with that on there. We'll see in just a minute, I guess. I can't remember if it will or not. We'll keep both. Okay, so we're done with that. We've got everything done we need to do. So we're gonna leave and go. Now remember, we need to send that out and turn it off. You'll see here it's going to bring in 4 thumbnails. So now that we have our rivets too, we're going to click on that brush, click on the brush menu, click in here, and you see now we have 4 new alphas. So we'll click on that one. Doesn't have lines and no lines. So no lines if it shares. Now that we have this in, you can see that that's still a line. Let's fix that. So we'll bump up it didn't save anything. So here's something I need to show you, and I forget about this on occasion. When you change a brush and you've moved this, say we go to this and we change to this different fall off, you need to go in and save the brush. And that way, if you leave and come back in, whatever settings you had on the brush are gonna stay there. I forget that sometimes. So here, now you've got what's going to be kind of cool. You'll have these cool little spikes on there now. So that's kind of cool. You want to spike something out. So we'll remove symmetry and we'll play with this, keep playing with this a little bit more. So you can kind of see what you can do. So just changing your fall off is going to change the shape of what that rivet's going to look like. You can see there it makes kind of a peak, and that's because we've gotten your intensity is pretty high. Drop that down, now they're a lot shorter. Increase your size, make them bigger, make them spiked again. So you can see there's a lot more you can do with the alphas. Now if you go to a dual alpha, let's get rid of one of these because they're both the same. So if you grab this one or either one of them, but I'm going to show you something that's a lot more interesting if you use this alpha. So we can scale this up or we can scale it down. Let's tile it. You scale it. Now you've got 6 rivets, but we need to fix that preset. So let's go in here like that. You can see now you've got this crazy set in here. Let's decrease the stroke spacing a little bit so they tighten up. So you can see you can do a lot with these alphas like this. It makes a lot of difference on what you can do. Now if we were to rotate this, this is the cool thing with alphas that you can't do if you're just using this flat alpha. You can't use any of the rest of this part of the menu, so it's good to go experiment with it. So you can see that's getting a little weird, but if we rotate this around and you repeat and mirror, now you can do something even different. Let's go here. Now you've got a way different pattern. That's getting a little out of control. Change the size. That one's going to be hard to fix because it's trying to like double quadruple on you. But you can see how you can change everything in here. I normally don't do it like this. Normally when I'm tiling, I'm just going to tile. I'm not going to tile both. It seems like it always does better if you just do one instead of both down here, the X and Y. So you can see you can really change things. All right, lastly, I'm going to show you how to paint something with this on. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is grab the select mask. We're going to grab rectangle, leave symmetry off. It doesn't really matter. We're just going to do something real quick here. All right, now we're going to extract that. So we'll go into the mask menu and we'll extract two different ones. The first one we're going to do 0.05 or so. So you have a thin one. You can see it's fairly thin right there. Now we're going to go to the menu. You can see there, this is the EXT, that's your extraction you just did. So let's name that Rivets. Okay. Now we're going to extract this one more time, but we got to click on the spear again. And you'll see if we turn this off that we still have the mask line on there. So all we have to do is go back into our select mask menu, wait for it to save. Go into the select mask menu and we're going to increase that shell thickness up again and we'll extract this one. So now you can see that, and it's probably hard to tell, but that one's a little bit thicker than the last one was. Now, even though we have a really high mesh count on here, you'll see if we turn the sphere off that that's still got a little jaggedness to the edge. And that's something I've always done with the extract tool. I always extract a little bit more than what I want. What you can do is you can come in here and you can use the trim tool and trim that off, and it will actually clean that off really nice. If you use the rectangle again, you can actually get real clean lines on the extract. And that's one of the easiest ways. It doesn't matter which one you use, if it's lasso or line or whatever, it'll clean up your edges. So now when we look at this, now you've got some real clean lines on there now. So that's definitely one way to do this. So now we're going to turn this one back on so we can see it, because we need to trim that one up now. So let's just trim that off to match. And it doesn't really matter, we could trim it just a hair inside actually, because this one below is going to be hidden. We'll trim it just a little past the, oops, we actually need to select that one. That would help. Try that again. Trim. Okay. There, now we got it right. Now it's trimmed. And you can see that's clean, so we can turn that back on. And you can see there we still have the mask, so let's clear that real quick. So we're going to select mask. We have the mask on the spear, so if we click on the spear, we'll clear the mask. We're going to paint these real quick. So I'm going to mask that again, but it needed to be inside of our lines so the painting looks correct. We've got select masks and we're rectangle, go right, go right here. Oops, I lost my mask. Click the screen too many times. There we go. So now we have a mask on that sphere, and if we turn these off, you can see, whoops, turn those off, you can see we have a mask. Now we're going to paint this. So let's go into the paint, and you could just do it with the paint menu up here. So let's just paint it that gold. It's fine. Now we're going to go in and grab, let's turn these on. So we're going to grab the rivets. Let's rename this one so we don't get lost. Okay, all right, done with that. Now rivets, let's do the rivets, a different color, click on that, and click on the copper, paint all, and you won't see it because this one's on top of it, but that's underneath. Now the band, paint the band, let's just do the iron colors, fine, paint all. Now what's going to be really cool is we select the rivets. We go in here and grab our new rivet tool. And we're going to have to adjust the size a little bit. Now we need to do a couple of adjustments to get this so you can see it. Let's increase the intensity so they come up. There we go. Size a little bit. Okay. So that's pretty cool. So then if we change this back to just a 2, let's change this back, detail that. Now it's even more drastic on there. Now what you'll notice is this is surface normal. So you can see on here, you may have issues at times. You have to soften that up a little bit because you can see how those rivets are kind of canted off to the side, and that's because how did I clicked on that, I guess, on my hand. So you may have to decrease the size a little bit to offset that effect. So just be aware of that. Sometimes that'll happen, and that's because of the mesh that this thing has. Is, you know, it's all over the place, and the default sphere is kind of a square spheroid thing. If you actually do this on a round sphere, it would turn out much better. So this is just a good way to paint a different color rivet on something if you want to paint. Now if you just wanted to, if you're not planning on doing any digital painting with this, you can just do, you can skip all this and just do the band, extrude the band, and then put your rivets on it, you know, obviously. Okay, real quick, just to show you a preview. I didn't do the rope in this tutorial, I just did the rivets because I didn't want it to be too long. But as promised, I just wanted to show you, this is what is going to be in the next couple tutorials. One, how to make this stitch brush, so you can make some very convincing stitches. And then over here, how to make feathers. So that'll be the next 2 tutorials. Alright, I'll see you next time, and if these videos help you at all, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Thanks.